No, I am Rakesh Dwivedi, Senior Advocate this side.
Well, all right, viewers, we have Senior Advocate Rakesh Dwivedi, who represented the Election Commission in this SIR case, joining me on the broadcast. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Now, firstly, of course, we are seeing the Supreme Court has confirmed the constitutional validity of SIR. It has upheld the SIR exercise and also clearly stated that the Election Commission has the rights, has the power to conduct this exercise. So firstly, take us through your reaction to this judgment, your stand now that the Supreme Court has stood by the Election Commission in this verdict.
So it's a historic judgment in more than one sense. First of all, after a very long time, a very comprehensive SIR has been conducted by the Election Commission. And the Supreme Court has upheld the authority and power of the Election Commission to hold this SIR, including its power to examine whether a person is a citizen of the country or not. Though it has also accepted our contention that this inquiry into citizenship does not mean that he ceases to be a citizen for all purposes. It is only an exercise for determining his entitlement to be included in the electoral roll. So, in all respects, it has also rejected the submission of the other petitioners that it is arbitrary. They have held it is a reasonable exercise, and the Commission has given full opportunities. The SIR framework is also in accordance with the Constitution and the Representation of People Act. So it's a very historic judgment, and we have also seen the result that the elections, the number of people voting has gone up. And it has, in fact, the Supreme Court has gone to the extent of saying that the deletions which have happened on account of people having died or moved out of the constituency, etc., that is perfectly all right and in consonance with the Representation of People Act. So it's a very historic judgment. The Election Commission has done a good job.
Of course, sir. Now, if we speak about the arguments that were being presented in this case, a very big sort of charge by the petitioners was that they were saying that the Election Commission is conducting a citizenship test. But
Yes.
the Supreme Court has now very clearly stated that this exercise does not negate the citizenship of people that are already on the rolls, and many such further arguments that were made. If you could take us through your arguments when it comes to this charge that this was a citizenship test, and the Election Commission has very clearly stated that this was only to sort of uphold democracy and make sure that it can function. So what exactly were your arguments when it came to this?
So we said that citizenship law has been made by the Parliament, and that proceeds on the basis of the person having been born in India. But it does not prescribe any particular procedure or authority for examining the citizenship in particular context. On the contrary, Article 324 of the Constitution of India and Section 16 of the Representation of People Act expressly provide that citizenship is one of the qualifications for being on the electoral roll. In fact, the Representation of People Act says the person is disqualified if he is not a citizen. And we also refer to the Constituent Assembly debates and how these provisions were framed. And it all throughout the framers emphasized that citizenship is a precondition for being on the electoral roll and being a voter. So these arguments, we also had informed the court, and the court has accepted that there are provisions in the Constitution where if a MLA or MP is said to have lost its citizenship on account of acquisition of citizenship right in any other country, There also the matter is sent to the Election Commission and its report is binding on the President or the Governor, as the case may be. So therefore, all these arguments have been dealt with by the Supreme Court, and they have correctly, in my view, come to the conclusion that Election Commission can examine citizenship and for the purposes of electoral roll. And those who are excluded, they have all the rights to go and establish their citizenship, otherwise either in the court or before the Government of India. And our SIR also says that in such cases, matters will be referred to the Government of India for scrutiny and ultimate final decisions.
Absolutely, sir. Now, if we're speaking about citizenship, if we're speaking about representation, we must also talk about the Representation of People's Act, which became very, very important in this entire, exercise in the Supreme Court. Now, very unique case where both sides were citing this act to further their own arguments. But now that the Election Commission has clearly stated that, the ECI did not violate the constitutional, it is completely a constitutionally viable exercise. Can you take us through what exactly this act is and how it became so central to your argument in the Supreme Court?
So far as compliance with the provisions of Representation of People Act and rules are concerned, we had relied upon Section 21(3) of the Act, and the court has accepted our contention that an SIR is a very special kind of exercise which involves intense scrutiny of the qualifications, and therefore it need not be in total and complete absolute compliance with the Act and rules. It can, as long as it is substantially complying with the provisions and providing for an opportunity of being heard to the persons concerned, the voters, then that will be substantial compliance, and that is fully in accord with Section 21(3) of the Representation of People Act. So SIR is a special exercise. That's what the court has upheld, and in this, it can move away somewhat from the usual ordinary exercise which it conducts in a summary fashion every year or before the elections. And in this case, it has pointed out that for the last 20 years, SIR had not been done. In fact, it would be better if the SIR is conducted every 5 years or before the elections, so that the voter list is pure, because purity of the electoral roll is very important for free and fair elections. So this is what the court has also emphasized and accepted, that this purity of electoral roll and free fair elections, they are integral to democracy.
Of course. So now there have been concerns that have been raised by the petitioners, of course, and some people as well, when this entire narrative was made that, it is going to impinge on people's rights. What exactly would you like to say to those to citizens to assure them, and what exactly has the Election Commission of India presented in court to assure of these safeguards that are in place to protect our citizens and to protect their rights?
See, what we had submitted and what the court has accepted is that this preparation of electoral roll is a participative exercise. Election Commission does not have its own staff or something, machinery, it utilizes the officials of the state government and the central government where required. So, and all the political parties are involved in the preparation of the electoral roll through SIR. And all these political parties are asked to appoint their agents which work along with our staff in the preparation of electoral rolls. People go house to house and they get the signatures. These booth agents which are appointed officially by the chief electoral officers, they are all stationed in the village. So, And in addition, the Supreme Court also passed interim orders asking us to publish in the panchayat also at various levels and digitally also. So it was so fair and so open that everybody was involved. And in final stages, the court also asked the legal authorities to provide legal help to those who wanted to file their objections or appeals. So in all, it was completely fair and open exercise where full opportunity has been given. And in fact, the political parties were asked to submit their status report, how many people they assisted. And curiously, we found in Bihar that political parties were not assisting at all. They were only concerned with agitations on the road.
Absolutely, sir. I would request you to stay on with us. We're actually getting some more updates with regards to the case now.